recording on Zoom, and we're going to share my screen so that you guys can see it. And so when we're talking about essential oils for emotional therapy or emotional support, the reason that we do that is because a lot of people, and I know I've done a couple of Wellness Wednesdays for essential oils on the Adaptive product. Hi, Laura, how are you? I hope you're doing well. What are your plans for Memorial Day? So I'm doing this because I want to make sure that everyone has the support that they need and that they're getting what they need out of their oils that they're using, or if they're not using oils, give them some ideas as to how they could use them. So emotional therapy and aromatherapy can go hand in hand. There are always those things that bring us back to our childhood and make us feel like we're right back in a really happy place, and we're happy that those scents bring us back some great memories. And so I want to make sure that we address that in terms of how you can use essential oils as well. And so this presentation that I'm doing on Zoom with the meeting ID there in the comments section, you can look up that, is all about the products specifically that doTERRA has for improving your mood and your emotional support. And one of the ways that we often use essential oils for support is we have people put them on the inside of their wrist, and throughout the day we'll have them take their hands just like this, put them onto the forehead, tuck the chin just a little bit, and breathe. So there are other ways to use these. You can diffuse these oils, especially if you are looking to get an entire room full of people involved in whatever that feeling is that you're trying to create and have that kind of support. But that's a lot of the way that we do it. So the whole family can use these oils. They're safe for kids. And there is also a kids line that doTERRA makes, and you can look up what that kids line is and have that be, hey, how are you? So there is that line that you can use for kids specifically that allows you to have something that you know is absolutely safe for kids. Now, if you're using these for aromatherapy and you're diffusing them is a great way to use them in the home so that everyone gets access to that oil. But if you're going to put one of these that we're talking about today on a kiddo, you want to make sure that you dilute it with a little bit of an organic oil, whether that's olive oil, coconut oil, avocado oil. It doesn't matter what that is, but you want to dilute it as if you're using 1 drop of essential oil for an infant, you're going to want to dilute it by 8. For a toddler to 6-year-old, dilute it by 4 drops of the carrier oil. For a teenager, you might need to dilute it by 1 or 2. And for an adult, you should be able to use full strength, but some of these will have things in this that will be a skin irritant. And so you want to make sure that if you're using ones that have a skin irritant, you also use a carrier oil. So aromatherapy has been used for centuries. As you can see in this, it's been used including Greece, Rome, China, India. They use it for both rituals and as well for religious practices. It has substantial research that started in the 1990s that is supporting it now. And so we can say for sure that there are things that do help with emotions. The science behind it, there is a chemical response that occurs when you smell things, and that happens when you smell anything. So if you're that person that walks by at the county fair or walks even through the mall and smells the one that gets me every time is the candied pecans, because they used to have those. My hometown has a street fair every Friday starting from May 5th. Well, it's around May 5th. I shouldn't say it's May 5th every year because it happens. It's a series of festivals that happens, and then this fair that's a farmer's market starts on Friday nights. and they close off downtown, and there's always somebody making these candied nuts. So when I smell those in the mall, particularly at Christmas time, it just reminds me of being at that open air farmers market in my hometown. And so there is that chemical response that occurs. It triggers the brain to remember something associated with that smell, and then it creates a personalized experience for each person. So some of you may hate candied pecans, but for me, they bring back a very happy time in my life. Where I was working at this family-owned restaurant downtown and got to be exposed to that every single Friday for 6 to 9 months, and it was just great. So why would you use oils to manage your mood? First of all, they're natural and safe. Second, they're non-toxic. And third, they don't have any side effects. They also generate fairly quick responses, and it's a very simple way to manage your emotions. But for me, the fact that they're not toxic, they're not going to interact with anything else that I'm taking, which right now I'm not taking anything. But if I were taking a medication, these aren't going to interact with that medication. And the fact that I know for sure that they are safe and they occur in nature, and all that's happened is they've distilled the most important properties out of these products into these oils. So that to me is one of the most important things when I'm thinking about what I'm going to use. And then how can you manage your emotions using essential oils? So of course there's the aromatherapy, and you can see here there's a woman who's just taking a bottle and breathing that bottle in. And that is a great way to do it. But again, you can put them in a diffuser and you'll get that to a larger area in the room, and so more people affected. You can use it topically. So some people will say that if you're having a real struggle with your emotions, that area on the wrist, like I showed at the beginning of the presentation, where you put it on the wrists, thumbs to the forehead, tuck the chin and breathe in. So you can use it topically that way. There are some people who also recommend that you apply it to the spine and to the soles of the feet. And hi, how are you? What are your plans for this weekend? Thanks for watching. If you want to go to the Zoom link in the chat, or the Zoom meeting ID, I'm doing a PowerPoint presentation too, so you can look at that if you'd like. And otherwise, I'll try and post it later in the room there so that you guys can get that download. And then you can take oils internally too, but you have to make sure, and I've said this before, that when you're taking essential oils internally, you want to make sure that they are a certified therapeutic pure grade and that they're organic. And so you want to make sure that when you're looking through the company's reputation, they don't use anything synthetic in their product, because you might have a reaction to that. Or if you're taking a medication, that medication might interact with that synthetic part of it. It won't typically interact with the plant part of it, but oh, thank you so much. It won't interact with the plant part of it, but it'll definitely interact with the synthetic part. And so you just want to be careful about using certified pure therapeutic grade oils that are organic, so that you can have them not interact with anything else that you might be taking if you are on regular medications. So if you look at the PowerPoint presentation, there's an emotional wheel, and what it shows is that the citrus oils are the top part of the wheel that go from like 1 to 2 o'clock kind of, and they help people who are discouraged, gloomy, or distressed, and they're motivating and encouraging. The next part of the wheel is the spices part, and they help people who are somber, disinterested, or bored. And the blend for that doTERRA has is cheer, and it's meant to be uplifting. The next part of the wheel is herbs and grasses, and the blend for that is passion, and it's inspiring, and it's meant to help people who are discontented, bitter, or angry. At the 6 o'clock hour starts the trees, and you get the forgive blend, which is a renewing blend, and that helps people who are sad, grieving, and helps just renew their basically drive for life and their want to go on. And then we get to the console blend, which is the florals blend, which smells amazing. And it's supposed to be comforting. It helps people who are feeling hurt, worried, anxious, or feel fearful. And then the last part of the wheel that takes us back up to the 12 o'clock hour is the Peace Blend, and it's the mints, and it's supposed to be reassuring. So it again helps those who feel anxious, insecure, or apathetic. And honestly, that one in our house is probably one of the favorites because my kids love the way the mint makes them feel. They love the way that it makes them smile and makes them happy. So if you have a kiddo who you're thinking about using an oil with, the most common oil used with a kiddo is lavender. The second most common oil used with a kiddo is one of the mints. Or breathe. And I'm in Colorado. So where are you at? The doTERRA has an emotional aromatherapy system, and you can buy this as a kit. And it does have all of the oils on the wheel in it. And so if you're interested in getting that product, I can tell you how to get that. And this, honestly, we use this a lot in our house. So it's something that you can get a lot of use out of. The motivate and the passion and the console all come in handy, especially during the school year when the kids are feeling frustrated or they don't want to do anything. So the Motivate blend has peppermint, clementine, coriander, basil, and melissa. The cheer has wild orange, clove, nutmeg, ginger, and cinnamon, and vanilla. And the combination of the vanilla, the ginger, and the cinnamon is like out of this world phenomenal. Passion has coconut oil in it already, and then it has cardamom, cinnamon, clove, jasmine, sandalwood, and vanilla. And this one actually works as a really nice perfume as well. If you're somebody that has trouble wearing perfumes, this might be something that you just wear anyway because it helps you feel inspired and gets rid of boredom, but it also smells amazing, and people will tell you that you smell amazing when you wear it. The Forgive blend is bergamot, which is a combination of a sweet orange and a, oh my gosh, I just totally lost it. Bergamot is a combination of a sweet orange and a lemon, I believe. And then juniper berry myrrh, which is one of the royal oils. So if you remember from Bible stories, they talked about giving gifts of frankincense and myrrh, and that's because they had a huge healing potential. And they were very expensive and hard to get, and so you could really only get them if you were royalty. The arbovitae is actually a tree, and that's in this one as well, that comes from Canada. And the interesting thing about this tree is it does not decompose. So when these trees fall, they don't decompose, and the Canadian government was actually having trouble getting rid of them, and so they called doTERRA and asked them if they wanted to see if they could distill anything from the wood bark in them, and they came up with arbovitae, and this thing smells so nice. When I'm having a day in my office where I just feel frustrated, I'll just put arbovitae into the diffuser and diffuse that because it smells amazing and it just helps me feel calmer. It's a 6-chain carbon branch as well instead of a 5-chain, and it's the only one that doTERRA has that is a 6-chain. So there's that too. And then Forgive also has thyme in it. The Console blend has frankincense, which is the king of oils, patchouli, ylang-ylang, sandalwood, and then rose. And rose is considered the queen of oils. So if you've ever thought that maybe you want to try an oil, but you just don't know which ones to do, if you're in doubt, we always tell you to try frankincense. If you're feeling emotionally confused, always try rose. And then the Peace blend has ylang-ylang, lavender, vetiver, which is a root from a grass, marjoram, clary sage, and spearmint. So these also come in the Aromatherapy Touch collection, which is a roll-on, and that's pretty nice too because you don't have to create your own roll-on. They're already pre-made for kids age 7 and up. So you can let them put on their own oils, and it makes them feel a little bit empowered because they get to open the caps and smell which one smells the most like what they need at that moment, and then apply it. And that in our house has worked really well. And then I just want to open up for any questions that you guys might have about these oils and what they can do for you, or how you might be able to get a hold of them yourself. Anybody have any questions? The roll-on is great, Charles. And this is from the Zoom chat, guys. So the roll-on is a great idea because it also travels really well. And so if you're traveling, like say out of the country, you can get a lot of use out of the oils for a longer period of time because you're not having to carry small individual bottles, like sample size bottles. You can do the roll-ons and they fit really nicely in that bag that you're allowed to have on the plane as well. So they are pretty awesome for that. Any other questions that I can answer for you guys? How about on Facebook? Anybody have any questions I can answer? Well, if that is all, I'm going to call it good for tonight, and I will see you guys again next Wednesday. Remember that Monday is Memorial Day, so try and celebrate someone you know that has served, and celebrate their successes in life as well, and be sure to celebrate something that you've done as well. I hope you guys have a great week, and I will talk to you again next Wednesday.